Good morning and welcome to the Haven Financial Group radio show. I'm Larry Colvig, founder and CEO of the Haven Financial Group. On with us today also Kyle Thomas, certified financial planner on the Haven investment team. Kim, good to be with you another week.
Thank you. It's great to be with you as well. And I trust that everything is great with the two of you.
Very good. Very good. Fall is in the air and football season has begun.
Yes, that it has. That it has. And you guys are big Vikings fans, yes?
Yes, we are. Yes,
Absolutely.
we are. Disappointed many times over all these years, but we're cautiously optimistic. Let's just put it that way.
Oh, I love that. All right. Well, we're gonna cheer hard for the Vikings this year. That's for certain. I love the subject matter today, and that's emotions and finances. And I mean, there's so many obvious reasons why emotions are involved in finances. Not the least of which is that all of us work very hard for, a great retirement, and we want to make sure that everything is exactly right. But boy, the uncertainty in the economy also can throw things for a loop.
It certainly can. We work hard for all the dollars that we accumulate, small, medium, or large, and then you put fear and excitement and overconfidence, the fearful news, the negative news, all that stuff lends itself to, oh my goodness, am I going to have enough money? Am I going to lose it all? And all these things are very normal, and that's what we're going to talk about today.
Yeah, understanding how emotions and finance can be linked. That'll be the first subject that we tackle. The do's and don'ts of portfolio rebalancing, financial strategy for you and your spouse. And then we'll wrap things up today with financial advisors and managing emotional decisions. So let's get started here. And Kyle, maybe you'd like to walk us through. I know you guys have had these experiences so many times, just sort of understanding how emotions and finances are linked.
Because they are very linked, aren't they? People are very emotional with their money, which you should be. You work very hard for it, and you don't like to have it disappear on you in market downturn. So it gets very close to home when the market does go down, because that's your life's work right there. But yeah, as I said, it's natural to feel that during downturns and excitement during rallies. But that's why we have to keep things in check here and make sure that we are putting together a solid plan for you, an investment lineup that works for you. Because if we don't have control around that, our emotional investing can drive irrational decisions. So that's where we want to make sure that we have some structure, and we'll probably talk about that quite a bit here today.
Absolutely. It seems to me that what would be very important in all of this is to have a plan, and that plan has to include some of these ups and downs that we see in the market on a regular basis, and that could maybe quell some of the fears that people have.
Yeah, because what we want to do is make sure that we're investing for a long-term approach. We don't want to be putting a portfolio together that we're just going to go and change in 6 months or 2 years, whatever the landscape is. If it's some geopolitical thing, if it's some macroeconomic thing, whatever the case is, because there's always going to be something.
Mm-hmm.
There always is in this world. And what we want to do is maintain consistency with our portfolio, pick a risk profile that is comfortable for us, that we can see ourselves in for the long-term future, and stick with that. It doesn't mean that you can't change your portfolio over time, because as we all know, as you get older, you like to take some risk off the table. But for the area that we kind of really specialize in, which is retirement and all things retirement, we want to make sure that we're sticking kind of consistently with the portfolio, because once you get to that retirement phase, there isn't as much changing with your risk profile once you get there. All right, there was a lot of changing that took place before you got to that point, but there could be some smaller changes down the line once you get into retirement. But once you're there, that's where a lot of your profile probably stays more similar. And we're wanting to be more conservative in general in that phase of life.
Sure. How do you calculate, Kyle, when someone comes in to see you, how do you calculate maybe what might happen in the future to make sure that this plan is secure? It seems very difficult for me to understand how you go about that.
Well, we run thousands of different Monte Carlo simulations within our retirement planning tool. And what this does is it takes historical market returns and it just inflates them to the positive or to the negative, and it gives us different scenarios on what could happen for us. And we have a first percentile trial, we have a 25th percentile trial, a 75th, and a 99th. And those are all completely different than what will actually happen, but it gives us a good perspective of what are potential outcomes here. And it gives us really bad outcomes of what could happen, because we want to see worst case scenario.
Sure.
That's not something that we don't want to see. And we also, it's fun to look at the best case scenario, but we try not to focus on that. We try to stress test it and be conservative in our stress testing. So we look at what is most likely to happen, but then we also look at what are some worst case scenarios that could happen, and are we okay in those worst case scenarios if they do happen. So yeah, to answer your question, we have thousands of different trials that go into our planning to make sure whatever we're set up for is something that we can sustain.
And when do you start that kind of testing on someone's portfolio? Do you start it when they're 50? Do you start it when they're 65? Give me a sense of that.
Well, that's a really good question, because the way that this works, this planning, the further you are away from retirement, or through the end of your plan, I should say, which is mid-90s for us typically, the more variation there is. So we can do it, and we have done it for people in their 40s even. And it is good to do it if you're in your 40s still, because it gives you a really good idea on what kind of portfolio value you could have at your target retirement age. So it does work for any age group. But the consistency of how accurate your data will be gets most accurate the closer you get to your target, which is going to be those mid-90s, right? So if you think about a string and you're holding it out really far, you got string in one finger or one hand, and then the other hand, then you pick it like a guitar. It's going to have a big vibration if you're really far apart, but if you bring it closer together, there's not going to be as much vibration there. So it's the same thing with retirement planning. The more time you have, the more variation there is. The less time you have, the less variation there is.
And Larry, I know that Kyle has said this, but nothing is set in stone.
No, I mean, anything needs to be, there's always adjustment. Life happens, and it happens really, really quick. And you got to be able to make modifications to whatever your plan is. But first of all, you got to have a plan.
Right.
What we find is a lot of people, they just are winging it. It's emotional. It's a guesswork. We don't know what we don't know. Well, what you don't know can hurt you. We hope it doesn't hurt your overall retirement, but it's really having a consistent strategic plan, avoiding knee-jerk reactions, avoiding the guessing game. It's over the long run, knowing how much risk you have in your portfolio. Most people don't know until something negative happens, and then they panic, and that's where fear and panic comes in. And you should know how much risk you're taking, and you should know how much you're paying. And again, that shouldn't be too much to ask for. The problem is most people are not getting that attention. Because they're not getting the information, the attention, they don't have the communication's not there. The confidence in their plan is, I don't know if I'm going to make it or not. And that's where at Haven, we really want to instill that confidence. We want to have as many meetings as it takes to get you comfortable with where you're at or where you need to go in the future. Again, avoiding this emotional guesswork. Again, a well-structured plan paired with guidance from somebody that is really a partner that's looking out for your best interests, that's helping you stay accountable. Accountability is extremely important, especially with the volatility. We encourage our clients to call us just maybe so we can have the conversation. Remember, we've had this conversation before. And just by having that short conversation, yeah, you're right, Larry, you're right. And again, that's so very, very important. So if you don't know if you have a plan, give us a call at 612-504-8400. Email us. Come on in, visit. You have nothing to learn. Start somewhere to get somewhere, and you're never too young to get started.
And something you just said, Larry, that I think is so great, and that's that even clients that you have at times can feel uncomfortable, ill at ease, and you advise them, give us a call. Let's walk through this again. I think that's an understandable place for people to be.
I would agree. The problem is, coming back to this again, most people are not getting the attention. Now, we deal with all the retirement topics.
Mm-hmm.
And we always say retirement is more than a meeting once or twice a year for 45 minutes to an hour. You deserve more. You should get more. And if you're not getting it, come on in and visit with us.
612-504-8400. That's how you can set up an appointment and see these experts at Haven Financial Group to talk about your retirement future. When we come back, do's and don'ts of portfolio rebalancing. This is the Haven Financial Group radio show.